Hello and welcome back. This is the 9th video of the PHP tutorial. So I made a few changes to make the video a bit shorter. So what I did is I created in the inc file, I created the functions. We got that from the last time I created the footer and the header. Okay, so the header is just basically the HTML tags requiring the functions, and I created the footer, which is just the closing of the body and the HTML, so we can close those. And the functions, remember we have this function that's get all users. Okay, so that is perfect. I created this file here that's called users.php. So instead of just going to the index.php, we're going to the users.php because it doesn't make sense to show that in the index.php. Okay, so now that we know that, we're here and we have all this pretty number of avatars. How have we shown the pictures? Well, that's a bit easier. Okay, so what we've done is in here in the avatar, we've created this image tag that opens the source, it opens single quotes, and then you close them after. Okay, and so the source is going to be the link of that. Okay, the value of the avatar. So that's shown there. That's as easy as that. Okay, if you don't understand, we can redo it again. So that's how we had it before. I don't know if you remember. So haven't saved. We had it like this. We had a link, right? That is perfect. If we open this link here, you're gonna see that we have a picture. So what we can do is we can open an image tag, and then we can do source equals single quotes. Make sure you just open one single quote instead of two, and then here we close the single quotes. Make sure it's only one. Okay, make sure it's only one. And then you close the tag. So now we load it, and there we go. There we have it. Easy as that. So if you can see what we've done, we open the source, the image tag with the source, we're passing the image, and we're closing it after. Okay, pretty easy. So what do we want to do now? Also, I added a few libraries. So CSS. I don't think we want to spend too much time with the CSS and JavaScript. It's a materialize. Okay, it's just a nice framework for CSS and JavaScript, because I thought we wouldn't want to spend too much time on that. So what we want to do, we want to start deleting users. Okay, how do we delete users? I think the first thing we can do is, well, we have this thing here that says delete. So all my plan is that we can just come here and say delete, click into that and delete it. So how can we do that? Well, let's just first create the function. Okay, so we're gonna this function will delete a user with the ID of ID. Okay, and then not just simple comment, delete user with ID. Okay, perfect. So we have a function that delete user with ID, and we pass the ID as a parameter. Okay, so remember what do we have to do? First of all, we want to require the connection. So connection.php, just to connect to the database, and then we're going to return connected. Okay, so why are we returning this? We're returning this because we want to test that the function works. So if here I do a var dump and I do delete user with ID of 1, for example, we're returning connected, so we just say there connected. So we see that there's no problem with that at all. Perfect. So the function works. So what do we need to do? We need to first create, so we're going to do SQL is equal to connection. Remember that variable is coming from the connection.php, just here. Okay, just a variable that we have. What do we want to do? We want to add the connection. We want to do a prepare statement. Whoops. And what do we want to prepare? We want to prepare the SQL statement. So delete from user where ID is equal to ID. Okay, so we could do something like this. Okay, and that'll be perfectly fine if we had double quotes. What the problem is, and I'm gonna put double quotes just so you can see that that would work. So I'm gonna do SQL execute. Okay, execute. Perfect. So let's go to user.php. There's a little mistake there. Well, there's no mistake, but we want to delete the user with number 2, okay? Because there's no number 1. I deleted by mistake before when I was trying this out. So we're gonna delete the user with 2. So what we can do is we're gonna delete the user with equal to 2, okay? And then we're gonna retrieve all the users. So if we reload the page, we should see this working. Perfect. Number 2 is deleted. Perfect. And then we can try to delete 2, but again, there's no number 2 now. And we try to delete 3. We can just change that, and perfect. That's deleted as well, okay? So that works. What the problem is that imagine someone passes something like 2, comma, drop table. So if someone passes this, okay, by mistake, this is going to go to the function and it's going to be replaced by that. So delete user where age is equal to from 2, delete drop table users, and it would just delete all our tables. So we don't want to give them that amount of access, do we? Just in case there's any mistake. So instead of just passing that variable here, we can do just a double check. How do we do a double check? We can do something like this, okay? We can call it whatever we want, user ID. So we just want to make sure that there's a colon in there, okay, before. So before we do the execute, we can just call this thing that's called bind param. And by param is going to take 2 parameters. Well, actually it could take 3 if we want to. The user ID, which is the exact same thing we have here, including the colon, and then what we want to replace it with. So this thing is going to check what this is, see if it's correct, and if it is, if it matches the value, is going to be replaced here, okay? So that should still work. Let's go here and let's just delete the user with number 4 and delete it, okay? Perfect. So we know that that works. So if they try to hack us or drop the table, will be all right. So, but we want to ask the user what kind of element they want to delete, okay? What kind of table or what kind of user they want to delete. So we want to make this clickable. We want to make this a button. So we can do it pretty easily, okay? What we can do is we can open an A tag. Remember, an A is an answer, which means it's a link. And we're gonna do href is equal to, and imagine we set here google.com, and we close it after the word delete. So just in case you don't know, that's gone blue, and if we click here, we're gonna go to google.com, okay? Just in case you didn't know. But we don't want to go to google.com. We might want to go to something like, okay, what happens if we click here? As you can see, that is going there. So we don't want to superbooks blah 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 google.com. We want to go again to users.php, which is the exact same file we have here, and then we want to do user delete user 5. Okay, let's just write it down properly this way. Okay, so delete user 5. So if we click, we got a little mistake. That is because we added this little slash bar. Let's go backwards. We reload and see, when we click here, we're going to the same page. We're passing this argument here. Okay, that's a get parameter. So it's delete user 5. So how can we get that information? Very easily. What we can do is, before we get all the users, we can have an if statement, okay? So if is set, so this variable here is checking if a variable is set, and we can pass get the get variable and get the delete user. So what are we saying here? We're saying if this variable here, delete user, which is a get parameter because it's on the link, you know, to get the way we're sending information. If the delete user of type get is set, so if it exists, then we have to do something, okay? If you're not sure what I'm doing, I want to make sure you know. So if we do var dump, and we var dump this get.delete user. We're getting 5 because with the get, this super global variable, we can get that number in there, okay, just in case you didn't know, which I covered in my previous video. So if you're not sure what I'm doing, just go to my previous videos. So if it's set, we're going to echo set, else we're going to echo not set or unset. So that is set. What happens if no one wants to delete a user? Unset, okay, so this thing wouldn't happen. Perfect. So what do we want to do when the thing is set? We want to delete the user with ID. We pass on, whoops, sorry. So we want to delete the user with that ID. Perfect. So now we're saying if that is set, delete the user with that ID. So now there's nothing set. I want to delete the user with number 5. Remember, that is the link. We just put it manually. So each one, if we click this one, that's going to delete number 5. Is not going to delete this row for now. Okay, so let's just click this one, and this row should be deleted. Perfect. So now we've deleted that row, so that row doesn't exist. The thing is that we shouldn't be allowed to delete number 5 multiple times, even though, you know, we're not deleting it because it doesn't exist anymore. So if we want to delete this one now, nothing is going to happen, and that is because the link is saying to delete number user 5. We put that statically, and we don't want to do that. So what we can do is we can open those things to concatenation and pass the user ID. So by passing the user ID, what we're saying is this. You'll see it now. We're going to inspect, we're going to delete the number 5, 7, etc, etc. So we're concatenating that with the user ID, okay? So that will match. So we want to delete this one, that's deleted. We want to delete this one, that's deleted. We want to delete that one, that's deleted, etc, etc. So now we have it working. I know I've been rushing a bit too much, and I'm sorry about that. Again, it is a very they are very fast videos, but that's my plan, because you can just stop them and watch them again. I hope this was useful. This would be like a nice way to do things, because look, that's all the code we wrote, that and this little function, so we don't have to have these massive functions everywhere. So that's all the code we wrote. I hope you find it easily, and if you found it easy, and if you didn't or you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.